Hey guys, time for another review. This time I'm going to be reviewing a very famous graphic novel, The Crow. Now I know I've said I wouldn't do a lot of reviews for books like this because they're hard to review and there's so many reviews up for them, but this is a book that's very special to me, so I'll do a review of it. Now, saying a 10 out of 10, 1 out of 10 scale kind of thing for this book, I don't think does it justice. If you had to, I would say 10 out of 10 all the way, but that just doesn't, it oversimplifies what this book is. This book was written by J.O'Barr, James O'Barr, and it was him basically finding an exit for all of his pain and frustration after a terrible car accident took the love of his life. And you can tell that in this book so much. This is a book that reads very different than most graphic novels. It's pretty thick, but it's a very quick read. I mean, you can get this done if you really, really loved it in 2 days. I mean, it's not a lot of dialogue, but just beautiful, breathtaking art. That's just um, amazing art, and there's so much to this book that's incredible. This book, a lot of times when you're reading it, almost feels more like an album, which I know sounds weird, but it seems like you're reading the thoughts of a artist instead of just a story. How most stories are just narrative. This is more him getting over something, so you can feel the animosity and the pain and despair in this book. Not a very happy book, although happy outcome, if you will, in the book, and it leaves you with a happy feeling if you ask me. This is what I consider to be one of the best books ever made. It is incredible. It's one of my all-time favorites. Recently reread it and decided to do this little review or thoughts on whatever I'm going to call it. Uh, if you have a chance, buy it. There's no reason not to buy this book. I think it's underrated by some people. Some people look at it and say, "Oh, it's some of the characters are so simplified," but I think that's the beauty of it. Because you have some characters in here that are you don't really know much about except for how they feel, and to me that is brilliant. Like Eric Draven, the main character, you pretty much once you get to it, you don't know much about him in the book. You don't. You kind of like him in the book. You're lost to where he came from, what he is, what he's been doing his whole life, and it's just concerns about after his loss and following him through getting over his pain. Not to mention there are just some cool action sequences in this book. Like I said, overall, this is one of the best graphic novels ever written. Uh, I know some people disagree with me, but I don't really care. For me, at least, this is up there with Watchmen or The Dark Knight Returns or any of that stuff. I would highly suggest picking it up. Uh, Overall story of this book is a man and his wife get brutally killed on the side of a road by just some thugs. Man comes back out from the dead and comes back for revenge. That's a bare basic story, but through it, you can really feel the emotion in this book, unlike almost any other. It is just pure incredible. Uh, there's really nothing I don't like about this book. I mean, it's very odd in a lot of ways. There are pages on pages you'll go without reading any dialogues, but just picture and the imagery is so strong that you don't need it. And then there's other times where there's just tons of dialogue, but it's all necessary. It's very honest dialogue, too. There's not a bunch of overarching plans or typical superhero stuff. And I guess you could consider this a superhero comic, although that's a very hard line because you could say superhero horror. It does a lot of genre bending in it. There's a lot of different editions of it. I don't know about the different ones, but I know most of them are exactly the same, just with different forewords, afterwards kind of stuff. Any of them, buy. Buy. Once again, buy. It's just a great graphic novel that everyone who loves comics should have. This review is, once again, another one of my favorite pictures and images in the book. Uh, Not for everybody, by any means. If you like your bare basic action comics, this isn't for you. This is a deep emotional story. And this isn't like I love the movie. I'm a huge fan of that movie too, but it's very different from the movie in a lot of ways. And I think a lot of people going into it, because of the movie, they expect something different than what it is. keep them separated. They're both great for what they are, and they both have great moments and great parts, but keep them separated just because you'll enjoy it so much more. Once again, The Crow, I would say one of the best books ever written, in my opinion. Remember, that's my opinion. Tell me your thoughts about The Crow, whether you hate it, you love it, because I've met some people like me that love it, and I've met some people that completely hate it. So leave comments, tell me what you think, like, subscribe. See you in another review.